special presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.
Tonight, live from the Emerald Queen Casino on the Puyallup Indian Reservation just outside Tacoma, Washington, a heavyweight doubleheader on Boxing After Dark, beginning with a rematch between Kirk Johnson and Al Cole. They fought an exciting battle against each other in December. And then a matchup of two undefeated, ultra-talented heavyweight fighters, Ike Ibeabuchi and Chris Byrd. It's been a long week. We are a long way from Madison Square Garden. And tonight we have boxing action with four tough, hard-hitting heavyweights and an undercurrent of comic relief in a really enthusiastic house with a handful of tough, hard-hitting round guard girls to let us know the number of the upcoming stanza in each fight. Welcome back, everybody, to another night of heavyweight boxing. Hello again. I'm Jim Lampley. We bring you back here with some trepidation, but with excitement about the prospect of real competition tonight and fair outcomes at the end of the bout. Three of the fighters on tonight's card, Byrd, Ibeabuchi, and Kirk Johnson, combined to have had 72 fights and a collective record of 71 wins, 1 draw. All three of them, for reasons perhaps unknown now, aspire to someday fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. Forgive them, they're young, they don't know any better. Working with me, another victim still hung up on the boxing beat, HBO analyst Larry Merchant. Larry, you've been touting the young guns in the heavyweight division. Where do these guys fit into the mix?
I'm glad you asked, Jim, because I prepared a top 10 list of my own because, one, we need somebody's impartial list around here someplace, and secondly, because we just want to take a look at the scene after last week from the impartial view of boxing magazines as well as personal observation. Lennox Lewis, #1 by acclamation. The two best young fighters in the world in Grant and Tua, who are serious threats. Evander Holyfield off of last week would have a hard time beating any of these young fighters, including Ike Ibeabuchi, who is 5th and who once beat Tua but was inactive for a year. Right behind them, Chris Byrd, who is in a position to unseat Ibeabuchi tonight. Rahman, Kirk Johnson, the veteran Larry Donald deserves a look, and Mike Tyson, who can surely beat any of the fighters behind these top 10. There's a dual purpose in putting this out there. One is to expose the fraudulent mandatory challenges we're about to be confronted with in Akinwande and Ruiz. But secondly, to declare that attention must be paid to the young heavyweights at last. We've been hung up on the marquee names for a decade. Some of these guys, I believe, could beat the best of the old champions.
You're saying Grant, Ibeabuchi, Tua, or Byrd might beat Lennox Lewis?
Yes, I do. Maybe Grant has the best chance. I believe Tua has a shot, certainly against Holyfield.
All right, let's turn to our other broadcaster tonight, the best fighter in the world, world light heavyweight champion, and a hero of last week's pay-per-view broadcast, Roy Jones Jr. Roy, you know Al Ice Cole pretty well. He got lucky last December when Kirk Johnson engaged him in a brawl in New York, and Johnson says this time around it won't be a brawl, it'll be a boxing match. Cole says it'll be another brawl. Who's right?
Well, it's hard to tell who's right. The winner of the fight tonight will be who's right. Cole needs a war because that's Cole's fight. That's the only thing Cole has ever done in his entire career was be a warrior. So he would want a war. Kirk Johnson, on the other hand, has to prove that he can stay out of a war and box when it's time to box. That's how we tell when a guy is ready or not to make that next step.
All right, and the two fighters are already in the ring, so quickly let's take a close look. There's young Kirk Johnson from Nova Scotia. And Larry, a closer look.
He's a former Canadian Olympian. He had two top trainers before this in Cokes and Benton, but he is now with Teddy Atlas, who flew overnight from Philadelphia to be here tonight after having been with Johnson earlier in the week here.
Johnson got a draw in the fight in the Roseland in New York on December 8. It was a tough draw for him because in round one, he was charged with having been knocked down on what appeared there to be a slip. 10-8 round for Cole on one of the scorecards. Then Johnson retaliated with a series of low blows, and he lost a point from referee Wayne Kelly for that low blow in round 5. Another one for that low blow in round 7, and then a third low blow in round 10. So altogether, 3-point deductions for low blows, plus the disputed knockdown, all contributed to the draw. But give Cole credit. He took what was given to him. And here's a closer look at Al Cole.
Cole is a former cruiserweight champion. Did they call him King Cole? He's a very tough heavyweight, never been knocked down. He can bring it.
So there's a look at the two fighters. Cole, a former cruiserweight champion, has now grown to become a 230-pound heavyweight at 6'4" and 230. He actually holds the size advantage over young Johnson, as you'll see on the tail of the tape. Cole is already now 34 years old. Johnson at 26 and with a 1-inch reach advantage. Punch that numbers, Larry.
This will give you a picture of the last fight. Johnson more active, both landing approximately the same amount of punches, but remember, Johnson had points deducted. That will allow for the discrepancy in the total punches landed. Jabs, you can see how Cole lured Johnson into a battle that Johnson doesn't really want. He landed only an average of 4 jabs around. Not good for a boxer puncher.
Rules of the bout with the unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Kirk Johnson Allies Cole fight is scheduled for 10 rounds using the state of Washington Department of Licensing rules, non-title. The standing 8 count is in effect. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. The doctor or the referee can stop the fight, and you can be saved by the bell in the 10th and final round only.
And now let's go ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Emerald Queen Casino right here in Tacoma, Washington, Cedric Kushner Promotions, along with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Present heavyweight world-class boxing for your entertainment. All the bouts are sanctioned by the Washington State Department of Licensing. This first bout is presented in association with Power Punch Promotions. The 3 judges at ringside scoring the bout on a 10-point must system will be Alan Krebs, Tom McDonough, and Tim Wood. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Paul Field. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the rematch. 10 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trimmed with green and gold and weighing in at 230 1/4 pounds. He has an excellent professional record consisting of 30 victories, 15 by knockout, with 3 losses and 1 draw. From Spring Valley, New York, ladies and gentlemen, here is the former cruiserweight champion of the world, Alfred Ice Cole. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trimmed with gold, he weighs 226 1/2 pounds. His professional record, an outstanding 26 victories without a loss, 19 of those by knockout with 1 draw. That draw with his opponent tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, from North Preston, Nova Scotia, presenting the number 4 ranked heavyweight in the world, the undefeated Kirk Johnson.
Johnson.
Gentlemen, you got your instructions in the dressing room. Let's have a good, clean, professional bout. Let's go.
No, hey, no.
That's right there. That's good.
A couple of thousand folks crammed into a tent every bit as colorful a scene as we saw in Madison Square Garden last week, just as enthusiastic despite last week, all hoping that the judges have come to the same fight that they have.
And round one begins. Kirk Johnson has gotten rave reviews from a number of the people who have seen him and worked with him in the division. He's brought himself along relatively slowly. Teddy Atlas, of course, trained Michael Moorer to a heavyweight championship, so everyone here is wondering, what will the marriage produce? This is step one, and Johnson steps in firing a left hook to the body that backs Cole up.
And Cole is starting out like he wants to box. He's not starting out with that brawl already. He's taking his time. He's not rushing into anything.
In their 10-round battle at Roseland in New York, both fighters were in trouble on a couple of occasions during the bout. Kirk Johnson hit Cole with a big right hand in round one. Cole caught Johnson with a big right hand in round 10, and many thought Johnson was lucky to finish the fight. Straight right hand by Johnson. And immediately Johnson slips, and this time it isn't called a knockdown.
Lucky for him.
It looks, Roy, like he has new shoes on, and they looked a little slippery to me.
Yeah, and that Budweiser sign in the center of the ring sometimes makes it slippery. Especially if it gets wet at all.
There were moments in the fight in New York when Johnson looked right at home brawling. But he said to us yesterday, I don't like to get hit. When I look back at the tape of that fight, I was astonished at the number of times I got hit hard. I don't ever want it to happen again.
It sounds sort of strange, though, because he's out here trying to land some big punches already. And when you throw big punches, you're going to catch big punches.
Let me go. Come on, come on. Be careful what you don't want, because you may get it.
Well, Johnson says that Teddy Atlas is a trainer who wants him to win the boxing match first and then let his opponent make mistakes. Cole lands a big right hand to the temple of Johnson, and already they're trading big shots as they did in New York.
And I do think this will be another brawl.
And that's to Cole's advantage, right?
Yes, it is, because Cole has always been a brawler. However, it could come out to hurt him because Grant is a big puncher.
And Johnson just wobbled Cole with a giant left hook. Cole took a hop step to get back into position after that left hook smashed into the right side of his face. Right hand lands for Cole. Johnson back with a counter left.
Take a deep breath through your nose, let out your mouth slow. Come on. How am I doing? You're doing okay. Now listen to me very closely. Stop the bouncing, walk this guy a little bit, and just move your head when you have to.
Hold the jab. When you fire your punch, you're doing a good job, but you hit them. Step to the man, double, and triple your jab, bend your legs, and dig to the body. That's all you got to do. And turn them. Keep it, you're waiting too much. Exactly. Be first, especially with a jab. And don't go one jab. Double and triple your jab up. And bend your legs and dig to the body.
Well, that would have been the end of the fight for a lot of heavyweights, but Cole has shown an iron jaw in the past.
Let's go, Teddy. Let's go. Let's go. Come on.
And Johnson may feel, Roy, that he's so much more quick-handed than Cole that he can stay inside and outbox and outpunch him from an inside position.
That, and the other thing is that he knows he's been a heavyweight. You know, Cole came up from the cruiserweight division, so Cole is not used to being, he's not a full-blown heavyweight like people would expect him to be.
Although Cole was at great pains to point out to us yesterday, hey, I'm the bigger man here. I'll outweigh him. You can't say I'm not a heavyweight anymore.
No, I'm not saying he's not a heavyweight. He's definitely a heavyweight. But I'm saying, you know, he hasn't been carrying that weight for as many years as Kirk Johnson has.
And if you're not fighting at your natural weight, you're giving something up.
Right.
In round one, by CompuBox numbers, they threw 36 jabs and landed only 4 between them. It was brawling, not boxing.
Once again, Johnson caught Cole coming in with that left hook. Left hook is the most devastating punch in boxing when it's well delivered and well timed.
Great right hand lands for Cole. Johnson tried to retaliate, but Al ducked away.
Cole is showing good head movement here. Very different from when he was a cruiserweight.
Yeah, when he was a cruiserweight, he would just stand in there and trade with you.
No head movement at all.
Well, if Teddy Atlas's advice to Johnson was to win the boxing match first, got to wonder how happy he's going to be with these first 2 rounds.
Not too happy because he's not going to win a boxing match with one big punch at a time.
Blood spilling from Cole's mouth.
Kirk Johnson seems to be trying to hit so hard with the right hand that he's telegraphing it, and Cole can see it coming.
Boy, there's a feeling that Johnson is very well conditioned for this fight. But when you load up and try to throw so many big shots early, isn't there a danger of getting punched out?
Yes, it is, because you don't train to throw big shots all day. You train to throw mediocre, fast, consistent shots. So when you throw the big shots, they take double the work, especially when you miss.
Cole teeing off with one more big right hand to punctuate round 2. They picked up where they left off in New York last December. Teddy Atlas leans in to advise Kirk Johnson to start boxing. And you take a look at Anna Vine, all one word. She says that she's a fitness freak. Some of those muscles are trained and built up. Some of them are store-bought. But she says she's stronger than you.
That's it. You're waiting too long. Why don't you put no pressure on him and let your hand go? All right? He don't want to do this, man. He don't want to do this. All right? Don't give him pump no heart. You got to stick this man and let your hand go. Double and triple your jab, son. All right?
Right hand. Put the right hand behind it. But get your distance. Bring your legs. All right? And don't pull straight out because he has long arms. Don't pull straight out. Now take a little bit more control. Step up that concentration.
If you're going to throw this down, let's go to work. Let's go to work.
Get that towel. Get that towel. Time.
Eddie Mustafa Muhammad wants Cole to be more aggressive. Cole has been a little bit tentative in the last round and a half because he started catching some of those quick left hooks from Johnson. And now a straight right hand.
And that's why I think he wanted Cole to be more busy, because he doesn't want him to stand out there and wait and catch the big right hand.
Crowd-pleasing fight. And this is a real boxing crowd. They sat through the preliminaries. The place has been a full house since a couple of hours ago. Body shots from Johnson, doubling Cole over in there. We asked Johnson if he did extra work to try to prevent low blows, and he said, hey, if you're a body puncher, you got to just keep letting them go and not worry about that.
Welt under the left eye of Cole, indicating how many of those rights and lefts he's been catching there.
And Johnson's still relatively unmarked, even though Cole has landed some shots of his own. I don't think there's much doubt that Kirk Johnson is the bigger puncher.
Yeah, he's definitely the bigger puncher because he's been in the division longer anyway, so he had to punch all along. Cole had to bring his punch from cruiserweight up to the heavyweight division with him. And he wasn't an exceptional puncher as a cruiserweight. But he is very game, and he throws a lot of punches.
Cole trying to step in and shorten the range between him and Johnson. Johnson stepping back, trying to observe Teddy Atlas's instruction to get at range. Left hook to the body. Cole comes back with a right hand upstairs.
Remember Teddy Atlas saying, don't step back because of his long arms? He stepped back, and Cole got him with those long arms.
Johnson seems to be showing a little fatigue already. Actually, they both seem to be showing a little fatigue already.
Well, if Cole is showing fatigue, Roy, it's from the punches he's absorbing. Another good round for Johnson.
You finished the round real well.
Kirk Johnson has tassels on his shoes because his idols, Ray Leonard and Muhammad Ali, both wore tassels as well.
The end you were better. Now listen very closely. I'm going to say it in English. You can't misunderstand. I expect you to do it. I want you to start backing this guy up behind the jab. The only time he's effective is when you pull back or you lay out in front. You know why? He needs room to punch.
Just give me a better round. Give me a better round.
Start backing him up smart. Taking a step.
There you see that straight, hard right hand on Cole. Many a fighter would not survive that. And then he comes through with an uppercut. This has really been the best performance we have seen from Johnson. A mature performance. Balanced, both hands. You heard Teddy Atlas tell him, back Cole up.
And Harold, how do you have it through the first three?
Jim, 30-27, 3 rounds to nothing. Kirk Johnson. Jim, no question that Kirk Johnson's getting on the inside, keeping the fight in close, and beating up Al Cole. He's landing great left jabs, solid right hands like that, good uppercuts on clean punching, based on clean punching. Kirk Johnson in each round.
CompuBox numbers through round 3, very similar to those for the first fight in New York, though the small differences register an improvement in Johnson's performance, connecting more at a higher percentage rate.
Borderline blow by Johnson, warned by the referee.
One thing Johnson is doing is everything Cole tries to do, he counters it, and it's making it very hard for Cole to get anything started. And that's more of a boxing type technique, which is what he wanted to do anyway.
And Cole not nearly as willing to initiate the action now as was the case in the first couple of rounds. So the power of Johnson's shot having a chilling effect on Cole's offense. From Johnson as Cole leans in. Johnson doing an excellent job of finding the target amid Cole's attempts at movement.
He's also doing a good job of keeping Cole at bay. Cole is not close to him where Cole needs to be. Cole is right outside of his punching power so that he can land the hard shots on Cole.
Well, you got a big ring here, Roy. It looks significantly bigger, for instance, than the ring in which Lennox Lewis fought Evander Holyfield last week in New York.
By a couple of feet at least.
And it gives Johnson more room to move around and set up to take advantage of Cole when Cole comes in.
Just saw Johnson do something very nice. Threw a left and a right and moved away. By the time Cole retaliated, he was gone. Cole right back on him.
And that's where Cole needs to be, right on top of him. That's the only chance he has of winning this.
Come on, let him go. Let him go, Cole. Come on.
Let's just hope that tonight's second bout between that man, II.HW, and the elusive Chris Bird produces anything close to the kind of action we've got in this one so far between Kirk Johnson and Al Cole. II.HW, nickname Mr. President.
I like that. I like that.
When he breaks, get right back at him. Close the damn gap, Ice. Don't wait. Close the gap.
That was a good round.
And when you get in there, throw the hook to the body and the head, put the right hand with it. Put them together. And stay there. Now, if he's fading out on you, give him a mouthpiece. Fade him. Let him move back and then step behind the jab. If it takes 2 jabs, use 2 jabs. God damn it, back him up now. What do you want to be with your life? What do you want to be?
Come on, Eddie. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, Teddy. Come on, Teddy. Get the towel. Get the towel. Let's go, Teddy. Come on.
Roll in there, okay?
Teddy Atlas trying to make Kirk Johnson into a positive boxer puncher. We do see him more aggressive than he was a couple of years ago. How much farther can he go in that fashion?
Round 5 of a scheduled 10. Both bouts tonight scheduled for 10 rounds. Here just outside the city of Tacoma, which has produced some memorable names in boxing. Middleweight champ in the 30s, Freddie Steele. Johnny Bumpus, junior welterweight champ. Davey Armstrong, Olympic gold medalist. Sugar Ray Seals, Olympic gold medalist. Leo Randolph, Olympic gold medalist. All from Tacoma. And, of course, two-time lightweight champ Greg Haugen from Auburn nearby.
And they are exchanging some big punches in the center of the ring now.
And Cole with a left hook.
A triple left hook.
Hard right hand by Cole. Johnson starting to open up and give Cole his chances now.
Well, Teddy Atlas's instructions are making it a Cole's fight. He told Johnson to back Cole up. That's what Cole wants. An inside battle.
So by instructing Johnson to come to Cole, Teddy is offering a strategy that gives Cole a chance to do what he wants.
Very beneficial to Al Ice Cole.
Yeah, but if he comes inside with his long arms, Cole is not going to be able to beat Johnson to the punch, I don't believe. He might have some more of this muscle stuff going on.
No, I'm not saying he's going to beat him to the punch, but this is where Cole is most effective at. It's right there. That's right. Cole's fight. That's Al Ice Cole's best chance of winning, to fight you in a brawl. To trade punches with you.
And even if he doesn't beat you to the punch, he can counter you a lot more effectively in here.
He throws more punches here. He feels more comfortable throwing punches here.
So suddenly Cole much more comfortable in the bout as round 5, so far, his best round. Oh, big left hook from Johnson. Cole coming right back with a right hand. This is an all-out war.
Come on. Watch the punches. Watch the punches. Go.
Cole taking a breather now. And he took a left and a right there.
Good, sharp punching by Johnson. So Johnson came back at the last minute of the round, but the first 2 minutes belonged to Al Ice Cole.
There's a time when you got to make a change. You got to face
And all 3 minutes belongs to us.
You allowed him to win 2 rounds in a row. You're not going to win the fight that way. Do you hear me? Listen, you're not listening. You're not going to win it that way. You can't pull straight back. You're allowing him to dictate to you now. You're laying in front, you're not doing nothing. You got to use that jab. You got to start controlling him with the jab.
I need the jab pumping. You got to step in. You got to step in with the jab and drop it. That was a good round. I need a better round. Cole, he ready to go. Cole, let your hands go. Inside, let your hands go. All right.
Al Cole calls himself an overachiever. Here he achieves a beautiful left to the body and left hook. And later Johnson comes back with that right hand.
Let's go. Be first, Cole.
By CompuBox number, round 5, Al Cole's best round. 20 of 58 punches. Johnson just 11 of 46. Both men landed some big shots. Al Cole to list his strengths as a boxer, Roy Jones, and the first thing on the list was his chin. No lie.
Second thing should have been his heart.
He's got it.
That's why I said the inside fight was best suited for him.
Johnson landed only one jab in the last round. Now, on the instruction of Teddy Atlas, he goes back to work with the jab, trying to make it something of a boxing match again.
Roy, can you tell how good a puncher is when he's punching against like Cole, who just has this enormous will to go with his chin?
Yes, you still can tell how good of a puncher he is, because if he's a good puncher, it'll still show. Just like when he caught Cole with the hook in the early part of the fight. But now I think his punches are losing some of the steam. He puts a little bit of steam on some of the right hands every now and then, but not as often as he was. He's a good puncher. It's going to show, be it by a cut or however, but it's going to show some kind of a weight.
Big uppercut by Johnson in there. Oh, hard right hand by Cole.
Now that one hurt Johnson. It was the best punch of the fight for Cole. Johnson walked right into it. And
there's another one. And Johnson not moving as Cole tries to work to the body to set up another big right hand shot.
And this is where Cole is most effective, right down the inside.
Shoulder to shoulder.
Well, Johnson is showing me something here by the way he's coping. But he's got to start punching back, too.
Al Cole having another big round. Johnson wobbled enough by the right hands, but he's standing still and scarcely defending himself for the moment. Now Kirk gets back up and moves. If this one goes the distance, as did their predecessor, these two guys are going to know each other as well as Robinson and LaMotta did. Get closer. 6 out of 10 rounds in the book.
What do you want to be with your life? Yeah, well, you're not acting like it. The 7th round coming up. You only got 4 rounds left to prove it. You only got 4 rounds to prove it. I'm telling you, you're losing a fight. You're looking for one puncher. You're doing what he wants you to do. If he asks you to do something, that's what he would want you. Stand at the end of the jab and get him a right hand. 3-0-1. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're standing at the end of his jab and you're waiting for him to dictate to you. You hear me? Over here on the corner over there, you got caught a right hand because you're looking for one shot.
And here's what got Teddy Atlas excited. That right hand just grazed the chin, served notice for some bigger ones. A quick right hand without its full force, and then that one with Cole's full leverage.
Round 6, another big one for Al Cole. 18-7 edge in power shots. 26 out of 61 punches overall, prompting Teddy Atlas to ask a quintessential Teddy Atlas in the corner question: what do you want to do with your life? Harold, what do you want to do with your life?
Jim, I got it 4 rounds to 2. 58-56. Still Kirk Johnson because of the first 4. But I want to tell you, it's a completely different fight we're watching now. Personally, I thought Al Cole was close to leveling this guy with that right hand. He's definitely hurting Kirk Johnson. in rounds, especially rounds 5 and 6 with right hand. So give Al Cole the last 2 rounds with that right.
Well, these seem to be clear, easy rounds to score. I have it the same way as Harold does.
Carbon copy of the first fight in terms of the exchange of punches. After 6 rounds in their first fight, CompuBox had a 4-punch difference in connects. Tonight, only a 6-punch difference in connects after the same 6 rounds. Like a couple of fastball pitches just rocking and firing. Imagine what that crowd in the Garden would have been like last week if they could have seen something like this. So what must Johnson do now to reverse the momentum of the bout, Roy?
Either he has to let a big punch or he has to get back to boxing.
Blood out of Cole's nose now.
He's trying to land 1 punch, and this is right in the hand.
He's playing into Cole's hands.
Playing right into his hand.
Trading punches on the inside. Al Cole continues to finish most of the exchanges.
He's going to start and he's going to finish most of those exchanges. This is another reason I don't agree with changing trainers too often in the middle of the stream. Al Cole has been champion doing what he's doing, so he has confidence at doing what he's doing. Craig Johnson doesn't have the same confidence trying to back Cole up as he does because he's not that type of a fighter.
And of course, Johnson, as we showed you before the fight, has previously been trained by Curtis Cokes, who's now involved as one of many with Ike Ibeabuchi, and by George Fenton, whom you'll remember from his association in the past with Lou Duba. And Cokes, Fenton, and Teddy Atlas are 3 different guys with 3 different styles. Last Saturday, Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis met in one of the most controversial fights in heavyweight history. The draw heard round the world. On Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, we'll take one last look at the 12 rounds of action which led to this horrendous decision. Joining Larry and I for further discussion, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, and the 3 judges responsible for the outrageous outcome of the bout. Incidentally, on our HBO Boxing website, as we remind you that we've been polling people on various questions. One of them, who won the fight? You can see the responses there. 85% Lewis, 15% Holyfield. Striking coincidence. Do you think Holyfield underestimated Lewis? Again, the margin, 85% yes, 15% no. No guarantee, incidentally, that everybody who responded to the polls actually saw the fight. And of course, of those 15% who say they think Holyfield won it, if they did see it, maybe they need eye exams. Round 8, Al Cole against Kirk Johnson in a fight that seems to be getting closer as Cole gets a little more of his way through the middle stages. Johnson now starting to discipline himself to use the jab and box.
4 straight stiff jabs by Johnson.
He can do this all night long.
You wonder if his 8-year advantage in age will mean anything coming down the stretch, but it is only a 10-round fight.
Cole tempts Johnson into exchanging with him and lands a couple of little shots inside. putting his hands on his hips as if to say, well, if you want to dance, I can dance too. Trying to humiliate Johnson into leaving this strategy behind because it's serving Kirk so well.
He walked right into a straight right hand. I think Cole is behaving a little oddly in this round, Roy.
I do too.
You think he's tired?
I think he's a little tired. But there again, coming from cruiserweight to heavyweight, it's a little more difficult for him to choke this week and go 10 rounds than it would have been for him to go at 190.
Nice little uppercut inside by Johnson with the left hand. Lands that same uppercut again. Big round now for Kirk Johnson as Cole not able to throw very much here in round 8.
Cole's face turning into a grotesque mask. Lumps and bumps and bruises.
Is that a sign of power, Roy, or is that simply a function of how many times you get hit?
That's both. It's a sign of power, but it's also a sign of the accumulation of blows that you've been hit with.
And now the referee, Paul Field, warns Johnson for shouldering Cole off. But it's not a bad idea to keep Cole out of the zone where he can fight. Big round for Johnson.
Sir, you're giving him the fight now. You're giving him the fight. All right? You're giving him the fight. I need these 2 rounds big. I need them big. You gave him that round. All right?
I need both of these 6 minutes.
You got 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
You got 6 minutes to become a millionaire. All right? You do it for your son now. You got 6 minutes. You hear what I said?
You're going to fall in. Punch. Take a step back if you have to. Don't let him close and fall in where he can smother you. That's what he wants. When you're inside, you put your hands behind him. Rotate your shoulders and punch. You put your hands behind him, don't come back to this corner. Because that means you don't want to fight. Do you hear me? That means you don't want to fight. And stop me.
Here we see Johnson following through the way a pitcher would throw a fastball on that right hand. And that probably affected Cole throughout that round.
What did Teddy Atlas mean when he said to Kirk Johnson, if you put your hands behind him, don't come back to this corner?
He doesn't want him to get close enough to be able to put his hands around him. He wants him to stay outside and box him. Don't get close and brawl with Cole like Cole wants to do. If you get close enough to put your hands around him, that means he's too close.
Good combination by Kirk Johnson. Comes from a community just above Halifax in Nova Scotia called North Preston. From a poor upbringing, but strong family. His father got him into boxing. Member of the 1992 Canadian Olympic team. Lost in the second round at the Olympics, but has not lost a fight since. 7 years of unbeaten professional work. Marred only by a draw with the man in front of him, Al Ice Cole.
This is more of Kirk Johnson's fight, to jab, stay outside, and box. This is what he should have been doing earlier in the fight, instead of trying to back Cole up. Backing Cole up was not the right thing to do.
And there was another big right hand for Johnson as he finds a groove in these last 2 rounds that suits him perfectly. Round 8 was a big one. Round 9 looking just as good. Cole not able to mount an offense from this distance. Good left hook. And Johnson not there waiting for the receipt. Cole looked up, getting ready to throw the right hand, but Kirk was gone. Right hand lead works as well. Another big round for Kirk Johnson. Al Cole has only thrown, by CompuBox numbers, 3 punches in the round. And you heard Eddie Mustafa pleading with him between rounds.
That comes from that extra weight carrying. He's carrying a lot more weight than he ever was used to carrying as a cruiserweight. That's the difference when you find a guy to move up from a lighter weight class to carrying all of his weight. Although he's this 230 pounds, his body's not used to carrying 230 pounds for 10 rounds.
Well said. Meanwhile, Johnson, as he succeeds, finds his own energy level rising. In the last 2 rounds, Johnson has listened to Teddy Atlas, boxed Al Cole, and succeeded big time. To go, and now logic tells you Ice Cole needs a knockout.
Last round, 3 minutes. Let me ask you a question. Can you hear what I'm asking you? When did you become a Mormon? When did you become a Mormon? Are you a Mormon? Huh? No. You know what a Mormon is? No. They don't want to hurt nobody. Every time you catch him a goddamn punch, you back out. Right, Jimmy? You hit him. You need this round big. Now, don't be careless. Go in behind the jab. Close the gap. Everything your damn head, Ice.
Drink the water, man. Drink the water.
Get some water in. Okay? Moving your head. When you in close, Ice, that's when you dominate.
You're not doing nothing. You're just walking and you just hitting you. You're not doing nothing.
Don't cheat you.
And goddamn it, you pull out. You need this round. You heard him and you pull back. Go forward. Move your head and go forward. Listen to me close. We don't.
I think Gene Fullmer was a Mormon, and he was a middleweight champion.
What he wasn't was a Quaker. And I'm planning to have a conversation with Teddy later to tell him the difference between Mormons and Quakers. So you can see that Harold Letterman agrees with our conclusion that Ice Cole would need a knockout now. Kirk Johnson was 26 out of 49 by CompuBox numbers in round 9.
Al Cole is really one tough hombre. He's the sort of guy with David Izon and some others who should be a gatekeeper for the heavyweight division. You got to beat these kind of guys to get yourself ranked.
Kirk Johnson, on the other hand, is a fighter who should be considered for a high ranking.
Although we should keep in mind that it wasn't until round 10 last fight that Cole was able to hurt Kirk Johnson.
Yeah, he caught him with about a minute to go in round 10 with a wallop of a right hand. And you don't rule out the possibility here. Cole showing a little more determination now than was the case in rounds 8 and 9.
There's a cut above the right eye of Kirk Johnson.
And a little cut above the left eye of Al Cole. Johnson's starting to bleed. That's okay. The cut man will have all night to work on it. Than a minute to go in a rousing boxing after dark battle between Al Ice Cole and Kirk Johnson. Johnson, one of 3 young heavyweights on tonight's card here, hoping to move up in the rankings and move toward that coveted title shot.
I tell you what, if these 2 guys fought every day, I would watch it.
They've given us 20 memorable rounds. Good body shot by Johnson. Cole temporarily sags into the ropes.
And Cole taking the law into his own hands by pounding him back under the belt because it's the end of the fight and nothing much can happen from it anyway.
Good left hook by Cole inside. And they fight on past the bell.
And the crowd is on its feet in appreciation as though last week never happened.
Well, it didn't happen here.
Last week it was like you went to see Shakespeare in Love, and at the end of the movie they told you had seen Chasing Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan.
Private Ryan. I don't think we'll get that tonight.
Harold, how did you score it?
Well, Jim, I gave Al Cole the 10th round. 97-93, 7 rounds to 3, Kirk Johnson. Jim, I'll tell you, Al kept walking in, Kirk kept backing up, and Kirk kept nailing him with right hands, and I think that was the story of the fight. Too many good, clean right hands, mostly to the head, but Kirk Johnson certainly won him the fight. You know, it was a good fight plan for Johnson. It worked. Al would walk in, he wouldn't snap a jab, and Kirk would just nail the bigger guy with that straight right hand.
Well, let's take a look at some of those right hands that Johnson landed throughout the fight. You're brilliant, of course, Harold, in pointing out the constancy with which Johnson landed right hands like that one in round 3, like this one in round 4. And notice, of course, that these are good shots, but Al Cole keeps on coming. That one in round 5. Here's another right-hand shot in round 8, by which time Cole had begun to slow down considerably. Al Cole not coming back after that shot. Same thing in round 9. Cole at this point losing the will to keep going back at the man who was punishing him so badly. Hey, Michael Buffer has the official decision. Let's go to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the Budweiser scorecards. Tim Wood scores about 97-93. Tom McDonough scores at 96-94. And Alan Krebs has it 97-93. All for the winner by unanimous decision. Still undefeated, Kirk Johnson.
Rousing victory for Kirk Johnson, and the Nova Scotian star moves forward toward possible bigger things in the heavyweight division. Johnson remains unbeaten and erases, at least psychologically, the blemish left over from his draw with Al Cole in New York this past December. Coming up next, perhaps an equally exciting bout if Ike Ibeabuchi can find Chris Bird in the ring. The elusive, unbeaten Bird, the target for Ibeabuchi's two-fisted power. We'll have that one right now. Let's look ahead to an upcoming program here on HBO. Premiering Monday night at 10 Eastern and Pacific, the most recent edition of Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel. Among the stories, a look at one of basketball's most colorful personalities, Dick Vitale. A look back at the 1968 UCLA Houston Summit meeting, regarded by many as the game most responsible for popularizing college basketball. Real Sports, where nothing is out of bounds. World Championship Boxing and Prince Nassim Hamed return April 10 as the Prince defends his featherweight title against England's undefeated Paul Ingle. 1 week later on April 17, a terrific night of boxing after dark as lightweight champion Shane Mosley takes on John Brown, followed by a stunning matchup between top lightweights Ivan Robinson and Angel Manfredi.